We made it, chat. Part 3. This time, no shaft. It's real. We're doing more weird deep sea life. I know the educational segment is, for some people, really something they enjoy. I enjoy it too. So, I wanted to make sure we could actually get this in on a Sunday stream. It's gonna happen. So, once again, if you've not been following, this is part 3. I've done several deep-sea creatures before, including a lot of weird jellyfish, stuff like that, of course, and strange anglerfish. However, we're going to start with the turtle. And Slender Ender Guy, thank you. It says here, before we begin, I wanted to thank you, Vinny, for streaming my packs, and I'm glad that you in the chat enjoyed everything that I put into them. I had a lot of fun putting these together and watching everyone's input as it was being streamed. So, yeah, I mean, this was great. So I'm trying a slightly different approach to the images, and I'm hoping it works. So, this is the leatherback sea turtle, and you mentioned that you'd hope to see a sea turtle at the end of part 2, so I figured I would do you a solid. Thanks, dog. These are currently the largest living turtles in the animal kingdom. They can reach 4 to 8 feet long on average and weigh somewhere between 500 and 2,000 pounds. Just like every other sea turtle, a mother will make her way to the shallows and haul her heavy body onto the shore to dig a hole and leave a clutch of around 110 eggs buried in said hole. And, just like any other sea turtle, the hatchlings will have to dig themselves out of the hole and reenact the sea turtle equivalent of D-Day, avoiding seagulls and any other predators as they make their way to the ocean. The main reason I picked the sea turtles is because of how they are equipped to deal with their prey. When they feed on soft-body organisms, they also take in a lot of seawater, so they will have to vomit the water they take in. Are these images stretched? Okay, we're not doing the slideshow. Really? Is there like a way to not have these stretch? That's real weird. Maybe only this image. No, it's several. I did a slideshow option. I was trying just a different thing. There's no real option to change that. It's fine, I'm just going to do this. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way. So, to prevent their prey from getting mixed up in the water, they vomit. They've evolved tooth-like cusps to line their throats and mouths. It's the real-life equivalent of the hellmouth. So here they are. They're kind of cool. So, I know it says leatherback turtle. But I wonder if there's no information here. I wonder if people have used the shells in that way. The shell is bone. Baby turtles are having problems with man-made lighting since they use the moon to navigate at night. Ah, poor little turtles. They're cute. I'm a turtle fan. I'm not going to say they're like my favorite thing, but I enjoy them. And here's the, oh god. Yeah, that is horror. That is horror right there. No, sir, I don't like it. I think I still like turtles. As they eat, their stomach fills up with food and seawater, and then they vomit all of the water. Huh. Spines trap food and keep it from coming out. It's basically a reverse filter. It is really cool. Someone just said chat's being really weird. What do you want me to do? I'm not their father. Just don't read it, dog. They're being weird about a turtle? What do they want to do to the turtle? Hopefully not much. This is the yellow-bellied sea snake. Yes, some land-dwelling snakes have evolved and adapted to spend almost their entire lives in the ocean. There are 69 documented species of sea snake that currently live in the ocean, but I'll only be covering one species. Nice. These snakes can grow up to 1 to 4 feet in length and have a paddle-like tail instead of possessing a tapered tail like nearly all land snakes. Since they can no longer hide in the bushes to attack, and since their prey can outswim them, they had to evolve a way to help aid in attacking and subduing prey. What that adaptation is having a deadly venom that's even more potent than a king cobra's, and yes, it can be fatal to humans. Thankfully, there's an anti-venom available and the snakes are laid back, meaning if you leave them alone, they leave you alone. I know, but I really want to play with the snake. I want to grab it and twirl it around. That dangerous? I mean, it's cute. Why would... This isn't dangerous. It's just a cute guy. But the thing is, though, so I'm sure you've heard me say this. Oops, I've closed the music. But I definitely have a fear of the deep ocean. But I kind of like the idea of just chilling and just swimming. And like, you know, you're just floating and you're swimming in the ocean. And then this guy just kind of goes, just swims up next to you. I don't know. That would probably freak me out. Even if I know they're kind of harmless. Alright, next is Galapagos iguana, or marine iguana. If there's an animal that closely resembles Godzilla, this would be it. It's believed that these were originally ordinary forest-dwelling iguanas, but were swept out into the sea by strong hurricanes. Those who survived by taking refuge on floating debris ended up washing up on the shores of the young Galapagos island. Since there wasn't much food that the iguanas were able to eat, they made do with what they had and began to adapt to their new environment. The most common type of vegetation that was readily available was, to them, algae. So they evolved to have shorter jaws for better grazing and the ability to hold their breaths for 30 to 40 minutes at a time before having to resurface. But since they're still cold-blooded reptiles, they can't stay in the cold waters for too long. So they have to bask on the rocky shores after each dive to heat themselves up. That does look very much like, yeah, there's a Godzilla going on here. If ever there was a Godzilla. I literally thought that was a Godzilla action figure riding on this thing's back. Like, I thought someone just placed it there as a joke. Like, from the thumbnail, at least. These are cool, because it's like, you know, we don't have dinosaurs, but we've got some stuff that kind of looks dinosaur. I mean, they're smaller, but they're pretty cool. Baby dinosaur. Well, birds, yes. Someone said we do have dinosaurs. Okay, how technical do you want to get? Because we could, yes, sure, I know what you mean, but also I'm talking about, like, them dinosaurs. Well, actually, streamer, I'm the educator here, and you say speen. You know what else I do? I show images that Retrotype made. This is a professional educational segment. So what Saddam Hussein is in the turtle? Armored sea robin. These unusual... Sorry, chat. I don't mean to interrupt the education with a dumb joke. Or me attacking chat members for being too smart. Armored sea robin. These unusual looking fish live a benthic lifestyle, I don't know what that means, on the ocean floor. Besides being armored, they possess a pair of plant root-like barbells, or barbells, close to their mouth to help locate and sniff out prey. But their most notable feature is their legs. They aren't true legs, though. 4 of their fin spines have evolved into witch finger-like appendages to help them crawl across the ocean floor and dig up any food it comes across. Apparently, people have tried to eat these, but due to them not having a lot of meat and being mostly bone, most people tend to just throw them back into the sea. We humans really will just look at something and be like, that's dinner. Because nothing about this seems appealing. Well, I guess it kind of looks like a fish. And, you know, just like enough of a fish. Like a weird one, though. God. It's like kind of, I've never seen this thing before, so it kind of reminds me of something from Subnautica. Flat fuck? Yeah. Viperfish. These fearsome-looking fish don't look like an actual viper, but they're just as ferocious. They possess rather large teeth and 2 large fangs that extend past their eyes. That may seem a little too big for them, but they're able to unhinge their jaws into a wider angle. Just like some of the previous entries from the first part, even though they look menacing, they're small. They only grow up to a foot in length and only prey on small fish and invertebrates. During the night, they will migrate to shallower waters and feed, and then return to the depths when the sun begins to rise. Yeah, yeah. This is the viperfish. It looks like the anglerfish a little bit, but it does look, like the thing that scared the crap out of me in Outer Wilds. I mean, they're little fellas. They're not huge, but it's just that face. I don't know, like, is it... You know, we humans have evolved a certain way or whatever to identify fangs and large teeth as, like, snake and venom and, like, danger, danger! So we look at this, or, like, specifically something like this, and we're just like, nah. No, that's bad. Teeth, pointy, hurt. Yeah, basically. Right? Right? This is Typhonus nasus, or the faceless cusk eel. These unsettling-looking fish live in the depths ranging from 12,910 feet to 16,700 feet deep, meaning they hardly ever get to see any action. Action? But I probably shouldn't mention they hardly ever get to see any action because their eyes are small and lie beneath their skin. It may not look like it at first, but they possess a small mouth which somehow helps them eat small crustaceans. The most notable feature on their face are the nostrils, which help them find any prey living in the crushing depths where they live. So even though it's called faceless, it still does technically have a face. We've been lied to, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look. Just looks like goo. Yeah, I mean, this looks like something from Prometheus. Bulbous and weird. Yeah. No, I don't like it. It looks like you know what it looks like, but it also looks like something that you could throw at someone. Like I don't want to be near this thing. Just throw it. Yeah, you just throw it at them. This is the ghost fish. And the name is more of a nickname since not much is known about it or its family. Aphionidae? I'm not sorry, I have no idea how to say that actually. Little info we have about them was collected from a handful of dead specimens that were periodically caught by ocean trawlers, but in 2016 a live specimen was filmed alive for the first time in the Marianas Trench. Its eyes appeared to be underneath a layer of transparent skin, and the body looked almost gelatinous like some of the other fish who reside in the same environment. Wow. Freaky little thing. The Blueprint soundtrack is great for this. Just a little guy living as far down as you can. Just eluding us. I wonder how many other little guys we don't know about. The problem is, though, we start seeing the Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster because, well, for one, some people see something, they don't know what it is, so they just say it's Squatch. But I don't think anyone disputes that there's weird little fish creature and little fellas that we don't know about. But then when you get like into the big creatures like Bigfoot and Nessie, it's like, well, what could that be? Aside from a hoax. Chat member says, the unknown is scary, so we create things to make them less scary. I mean, I agree with that to a degree, but also consider that the idea of a Bigfoot is a little frightening. Rip your arm off like a Wookiee. Here's the Sixgill stingray. These stingrays are definitely unique. They're the last living members of their family, Hexatrigonidae. They are considered to be ancient. They can grow up to around 5.6 feet long and live in depths somewhere between 500 and 1,100 meters deep. Their flexible schnozzes are packed with receptors to help them detect the electrical fields of prey, almost exactly like how sharks can detect prey. Unfortunately, their jaws are considered soft, so it is believed they can't eat shellfish or have any hard-shelled prey. It looks worried. Yeah. 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 This thing just wants lobster so bad, and it just can't have it. What is that? Oh, that's the jaw. They're soft. Right. I'm not looking at chat. I am not looking at the chat room. All right. But you have to wonder, though, has anyone caught that and then tried to feed it lobster? Or the Japanese spider crab? So this is the biggest living arthropod in terms of size. These deep-sea nightmares have freakishly long legs, and they possess a leg width that can reach 12.5 feet at their biggest. They live in the depths, usually around 150 to 300 meters deep, but are known to migrate to shallow waters to breed. The only places that you'll most likely see these are in seafood markets or aquariums. Thankfully, these crabs are scavengers and will only dine on dead or decaying animals. But on occasion, they will eat small organisms and algae. Now, it is believed that these crabs can live up to or over 100 years. But the biggest one ever caught was estimated to be around 40 years old. There was one named Big Daddy who won a Guinness World Record for being the widest crab to live in captivity. He lived at the Sea Life Blackpool in the UK from 2013 until he passed away in 2016. He was around 80 years old around the time of his passing. Blackpool, yeah, in it, and all that. So I'll show you the one. This isn't even the one that was in Blackpool. City of a Thousand Dreams. I'm sure they have really great coin pusher arcade machines in Blackpool. This is the one that was 80 years old when it died. It's fucking mental. That is mental. What did they do with this thing when it died? Did they eat it? It's food, isn't it? Oh my god. Oh, I just had a visceral reaction to that. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. That is mental. It's like a Strider, yeah, from Half-Life 2. You need to see when they're moving in the water. I'm sure I do. Imagine that grabbing your toes while you swim. Maybe it thinks your toe is a piece of dead meat. They're scavengers after all. Now imagine eating it. Well, I don't even eat crabs really, or lobster or anything like that. But hang on, chat. There's a video posted. I actually am kind of curious to see what these things look like.
Japanese spider crabs can have a...
This is how to survive on YouTube. Oh yeah, I've seen this. Oh god. Oh god, 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 god. Yep, nope. Man, it's just, nature is so weird. Alright. This one is the Cerataspis monstrous. Huh. Monstrosus. Yeah. These surprisingly large shrimps can grow up to or even over 20 centimeters in length. They start their lives as larvae that possess a carapace that's a beautiful shade of blue and over time become a vibrant shade of orange or crimson. Even though the primary method of locomotion for most shrimps is walking on solid surfaces and occasionally swimming if needed, if needing to escape from predators, these shrimps will have adapted the ability to swim for extended periods of time. Their pleopods have developed into paddle-like structures which help them leisurely hover above the ocean. They're really cool looking. I think these shrimp are pretty fresh. And yeah, they're big. But yeah, nothing about that looks appetizing to me. Someone out there is like, mm-mm. Don't knock it till you try it. I can't speak for the taste. I'm looking at this creature and it just it's a me problem. It's a me problem, Chad. That's all it is. I'm just saying. It's yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Next is the hooded nudibranch. These miniature Elden beast lookalikes over time have lost their radulas in favor of having an extendable scoop-like mouth. They use their oil they use these oral hoods to capture moving prey like very small fish, small crustaceans, and zooplankton. They live in shallow waters and are mostly in eelgrass meadows. They will sometimes be seen in large groups inhabiting these meadows. So, these guys. Yeah, I can see the Elden Ring kind of connotation here. I see why you brought that up. This was an efficient enough life form to survive. As weird as it looks. We need IRL Vinny aquarium stream. I do like aquariums. But no, I don't. IRL streaming is not for me. Bathydevius Codactylus. Codactylus. However you say that. Originally encountered during February 2000, this tiny creature left researchers baffled and confused as to what it could be. But after more than 150 sightings, technology improving over time, and the collection of single specimens last year, it was finally confirmed to be a unique species of nudibranch or sea slug and was officially named and described during November 2024. It lives in the open waters of the Midnight Zone and captures its prey with an oral hood like the previous entry. The Midnight Zone? They have also been documented on the seafloor spawning, but when threatened, they can use bioluminescence and glow to deter predators. If that doesn't work, they will shed one of their still glowing finger-like tentacles like a lizard shedding its tail. Interesting. Proper rubber looking thing in it. This next one is Glaucus atlanticus or blue dragon. Oh yeah, I've seen this. Although these do indeed look like pocket-sized dragons, they are a unique species of sea slug. They are the only species that possess a gas bladder, and they spend nearly their entire lives floating on the surface upside down. That's right. The blue side of the slug are actually the underbellies. The majority of the slug is white. Well, wait a minute. No, it's right side up then. Just say it's different. Say, okay, the majority of the slug is white, almost like the underbelly of a gummy shark. The reason they're colored this way is so they can blend in on both sides of the water surface and remain hidden from potential predators. As cute as they look, it is highly advised not to touch them. They are venomous and can sting you like a jellyfish. In fact, they steal the stinging cells from the prey they eat, which consist of by-the-wind sailors, blue buttons, or most notably Portuguese man-o'-wars. Is it just me, or do they have a fixation on anything that's blue? Yeah, there's an interesting video included here. I think chat's going to enjoy. They are cool, and it looks like Genova. Skies of Arcadia enemy. Yeah. They're so small, though. I thought they were way bigger than that. But yeah, apparently it's a very, very bad idea to touch these things. Check this out. It's funny too because scale is very relative to how big we are, but it's like when you play Spore or a game like that and you start really small, like the single-celled organism. But to a lot of species in the ocean, this thing is huge and horrifying. We humans are lucky, man. Scalyfoot snail. These are possibly the most hardcore snails to ever live. They live in the Indian Ocean at depths ranging between 2,400 and 2,900 meters deep and have been documented living in 3 hydrothermal vent fields. Because of their limited distribution, it is believed they have limited numbers and have recently been classified as endangered. They're seen living in hydrothermal vents, which are constantly giving off nutrient-dense chemicals, and their main food, sustenance that chemosynthetic bacteria produce, thrive off of these chemicals. In order to obtain this special byproduct from the bacteria, their esophageal gland, esophagus, which is 1,000 times great. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Which is 1,000 times greater than any other snails, serves as a space for the bacteria to live in and produce the snail's food. That's what happens when you do this live, folks. But what gives this snail the name Scalyfoot is because of a unique adaptation they exhibit. Throughout their lives, they will develop curved plate-like scales on their feet. They start out as white, but over time, they will get coated in iron sulfides, making them look like plates of very old and worn armor. Pretty awesome looking. No, it's not esophagus, by the way. It's spelled different. No, it isn't. It's the same. Wow, I just tricked myself into a different word. It's esophagus. I have to... Esophageal. Yeah. Chat, I thought it had to be something like snail and alien. I was like, there's no way this thing has an esophagus. I tricked myself. I'm smart. But hey, I'm learning. Now I know about the Scalyfoot snail, and so do you. And you can apply this in your own life. If you're a marine biologist. So, we have the Nobel Prize winning marine biologist here who cured many, many diseases due to their extremely impressive and innovative work with deep sea life. So tell me, what inspired you to get into this field so that you could save all those lives? I watched a Vinny Vinesauce stream. Dude, he was talking about some like fucking weird fish, and like there was one that had like weird teeth and one had an esophagus, and dude, it just was really cool. Like I was playing Fortnite and I saw that shit and I was like, I don't want to play Fortnite anymore. I'm gonna become a marine biologist. Zombie worm. These worms only grow up to 1 to 3 inches in length and live nearly 3,000 meters deep. The name of this creature is rather misleading since they don't parasitize or take control of anything living in their environment. However, they do eat anything that's dead, mainly dead whales. Whenever a whale fall takes place, it is all-you-can-eat buffet for any deep-sea scavengers that can last a few decades. Wow. But the worms are not interested in the flesh or blubber. They're interested in the bones. They will secrete an acid from their skin that will dissolve the bones and help them establish a burrow or a colony. They will begin devouring the marrow within the bones. But there's a catch. They don't have a mouth or a stomach, so they can't physically eat the marrow. However, they still have a method to extract nutrients from the marrow. They have synthetic bacteria living inside their bodies that help break down and digest the fats and proteins, but it's still unknown how the nutrients are transferred from the bacteria to the worms. It's really weird. When Carl Pilkington would talk about creatures, he had a segment he called Do We Need 'Em? And he would talk about a number of animals, and then he would conclude with, do we need 'em? No, get rid of them. And it's, we all laugh because he's a silly man, but then there's a part of me that I'm like, it's just so fascinating. Like, all this stuff, we exist alongside of it, and it's just happening right now. These things are eating whale bones right now as we speak. And instead of asking why, it's like, well, that's what it is. It just is. As a chat member just said, there's an incredibly specific niche that needs to be filled by this particular thing. It is that. Think about the fact that so much is happening in complete fucking darkness. It's just one of the senses, but, there are other senses, and whatever their world is at the bottom of the Marianas Trench is just as alive as ours, in a way. It's weird to us, but, they could just, smell, I guess. I don't know. Underwater smell noses. That's what they're called. It's very technical. Tube worms. These long worms are frequently seen in large groups surrounding hydrothermal vents. In addition to the vents keeping them warm, the vents provide the worms essential nutrients and house bacteria that the worms consume. They even evolved red fur-like structures that help facilitate the growth of bacteria that thrive around hydrothermal vents so that they have a steady supply of food whenever they need it. They also build themselves large calcareous, 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 whatever, that tubes they spend their lives in. If they make themselves some fucking tubes, I don't know. Like a calcium tube? Like a bone tube. Bone tubes in harmony. Yeah, these things are really cool. But also, yeah, worms in general are just weird. Just as like a life form. Just like a long meat rod. Don't make any jokes about that. Pompeii worm. These worms also live out their lazy lives in hydrothermal vents. And, just like the previous entry, they also create their own tube to live in, albeit much thinner. Where they live, it is scalding, and anything that isn't equipped to handle the temperatures from the vents will get fully cooked. But even though they look like they're coated in fur that's supposed to keep them warm, they have ways to help protect them from the heat and remain cool. They move back and forth like a piston, taking in cooler, oxygen-rich water from the outside of their tubes and mixing it inside their tube homes. They're also coated in bacteria that help insulate the worm and regulate the worm's temperature. That's the other thing too, is like having something evolve like an external layer so tough that it can survive a thermal vent. And I guess, you know, again, that's just, it's so alien. That's why we need to bring them up, and we need to make fireproof outfits out of worms. Trust me, chat. There's billions in this industry. Predatory tunicate. Related to the salp and other species of tunicate, these tunicates spend their entire lives in the deep ocean. What sets them apart from the other tunicates is their mouth, which looks like a Venus flytrap. Looks like meat, or like a sock puppet. As creepy as they look, they seem to only eat tiny crap that floats in front of or in their open mouths. What a life. For those of you who frequently play Deep Rock Galactic, like me, these guys should look somewhat familiar, as they are inspiration for the harmless alien creatures called breathers. They're really cool. But, oh. The sock puppet opens slowly. Yeah, those are weird. Ah, there you go. There it is. That's this Deep Rock Galactic screenshot. Does look like a piranha plant a little bit. Tunicate. These things are related to... oh. Yeah. These things are related to salps. Tunicates come in large variety of species. A lot of them consist of those whose life goals are to anchor themselves onto a surface and filter feed for the rest of their lives. But their life cycle is strange. They start their lives as microscopic tadpole-looking creatures that have more in common with the salp and the earliest known vertebrates. They have a notochord, which is kind of like an early version of a brain, but when it plants itself in a suitable location to grow into an adult, they'll eat their notochord as well as some of the other organs during their development into adulthood. That's kind of fucking weird. They just eat their brain. Huh. Just weird seeing the word testicle, and then like you look at it and it's just this. It's like, again, fully alien. Not fully. I mean, again, you know, you look at that and it says testicle, so just eats its own thing that's kind of like a brain. That's fine. That's totally fine. Ugh, these tunicates are... This is the Larvacean. These tunicates are one of the only other tunicate species that swim. They even retain the traits of larval tunicates into adulthood. However, they possess an unusual skill. They have the ability to create sophisticated mucus homes. These homes help aid in filtering food and waste thanks to its unique structure. They can even allow the tunicate to escape easily if it needs to. But I'm sure they would be pretty pissed off if they needed to rebuild their homes again. Mucus homes. Just remember that next time you're sick. That. There you go. There's a nice mucus home. That's valuable mucus that you could be using. You could throw that between some bricks. It could be your home. And that it works for this guy. basket star. As the name suggests, these creepy-looking Lovecraft spawn are indeed starfish. They use their branching arms to collect small prey items and bring them back to their mouths. They can be found in depths ranging from 30 feet to 6,500 meters. Thankfully, the bigger and more Lovecraftian-looking ones can be found in the crushing depths. But if you end up finding one in the shallow water inhabiting ones, I wouldn't blame you for keeping a distance even though they won't hurt you. Yeah, don't like that. Just got a weird... Oh, man, I've seen this. I have seen this, and I didn't like it then, I don't like it now. Eldritch horror. Yeah, I mean, it's very Elden, isn't it? Elden. Elden. Get those tentacles away from me. Flower urchin. I know this looks like a regular sea urchin, but there's a reason why it's on here. Sea urchins and starfish possess claw-like appendages called pedicellariae. Cellariae? They help ward off parasites and as another line of defense. The flower urchins, blah blah blah, pedicellariae look like three-valved claw-like appendage. There's some weird stuff in here. Hang on, sorry. I'm confused. It says, as another line of defense, period. Weird. There's a claw appendage that are connected by a circular membrane, making them look like a bouquet of flowers. They can even open and close. On each of the three tips of each pedicellariae possesses a fang that can deliver venom and if they clamp onto a predator. But the main reason I put these on the list is because of the other function that their pedicellariae serve. If agitated enough, these urchins can fire off their pedicellariae and will aimlessly and continuously open and close until they latch onto anything that's close by. So yeah, that's just, I don't... Some of these words, maybe we can, like... You could just rename the words to, like... dog. Cat, bat, rat. That's the word, by the way. It was spelled a little different. It's Pedicellariae. Thank God for you, you didn't do this last week. Yeah, it's true. Ah! I know that's gonna set some chat members off. But no, I don't think that's actually... It's fine, right? it's fine. Crinoid. Or crinoid. Sometimes called feather stars, these strange creatures are indeed related to the starfish and sea urchins. They have seen very little evolution during their time on Earth, so they're pretty primitive. Some species have been able to swim by using their feather-like arms, and some species live on a tall stalk. The stalk variant is mostly stationary, as you can tell, but if they're in danger, they can break their stalk and somehow crawl away from the threat. It's unsettling, but it gets the job done. Ugh. We're gonna see that in a moment. Okay, that's it. Just they move so weird. I mean, it makes sense, you know, for underwater life, but it's just weird to my eyes, to my vision. My brain doesn't like it. Someone said that just seems inconvenient. Yeah. But they live. Headless chicken monster. These are in no way related to chickens, and they're not headless. These things are actually deep-sea cucumbers that have evolved to inhabit the ocean floor. Why the fuck do we call them that, then? I don't claim having had anything to do with that naming. However, they don't spend a lot of their time in the open ocean since their food is located in the ocean floor, so... Sorry. They have tiny tentacles organized in a ring around their mouths, and they pick up whatever they can and shovel it into their open mouth. Even though it's mostly sand and mud they're shoveling in there, they can filter out the edible bits and excrete the sand and mud. So if you see one that looks like it has a visible intestine-like organ, that's just the sand it was slurping up. Oh, wow. It really helps to see these things in motion to get an idea of how they like move their bodies freely. Little grippers just there. Those look like a head crab a little bit. This one is the Pelagothoria. These rare abyss-dwelling sea cucumbers have completely adapted to drifting in the open ocean. They've evolved a skirt-like membrane that helps carry them in the currents, and the tentacles that surround their mouths help them collect marine snow. They're just album cover material. The sea pig. Some of you may know about this one. These funky little fellas spend their lives in some of the deepest known waters, feeding off the sand and mud on the ocean floor. These sea cucumbers actually have visible legs and move them by pumping water into them. That's their existence, really. Just eat, move, eat some more, mate, so on. It's kind of obvious how they got their name. Isn't that what we all do? We as humans, it's the same thing, we just think about it more, and then we complicate it. At what point does the word cucumber not fit these creatures anymore? We pump. Pump. Jelly squirrel. I actually don't know much about these besides being a species of sea cucumber. I threw them on here because they look like the offspring of a Pikachu that got it on with, let's just say, a dildo. Yeah. That's true. Giant ostracod. These unsettling bug-eyed things are related to crustaceans. They get up to about an inch in diameter and spend their lives living in the deep ocean waters, feasting on smaller invertebrates and small fish. Their eyes are specialized and can help filter light into one spot so they can see better in the inky black depths. Apparently, these things have some of the longest sperm cells in the animal kingdom. Why though? Why are they shooting rope? They're like little orbs. They're just orb fellas, and they got like long ass like tails and shit. I don't know. Nature's weird. Gives superpowers to some strange stuff. The Solumbella sea pen. This was discovered 2 years ago, so there's little to no information in regards to this thing, besides having a stalk, which has been seen growing up to 2 meters tall. It has creepy finger-like tentacles that are presumed to help it feed. I don't know why I read that like that, but it is pretty creepy. Imagine what we'll discover tomorrow. Ping pong sponge. These very unusual sponges are carnivorous, as it turns out. Those spherical structures are not soft, but they're made of the same material as the rest of the body. They're covered in tiny Velcro-like hooks that help them capture prey that mainly comprise small crustaceans and other tiny organisms. Prey is slowly digested by amoeba-like cells that live in and on the sponge. It is currently believed that the oddity discovered in 1964, called the Eltanin antenna, might be a specimen of this species, or a closely related species that hasn't been officially discovered and named. That's a cool picture. Looks like something, like, you just tell me we discovered this on fucking Neptune. Harp sponge. These are almost like the previous entry in terms of waiting for and consuming prey. What sets them apart, though, is their strange yet ethereal appearance. I imagine plucking each one of those spires produces a mysterious noise, but it'll probably snap and harm it in the process. These look really cool. They're really crazy. And this is just nature. Just produced this over millions of years. It's like... okay. We're getting near the end of this, by the way. We're almost there. Edwardsia andrille. I never knew about these until very recently when I was looking through the comments section of the second part on the Full Sauce channel. So shout out and thanks to Glory to Snowstar for introducing me to these oddities in the comments. These strange beings are anemones, and they have been documented being about 4 inches long. The reason I added them to this list is because of their unusual habitat. They live in Antarctica on the underside of sea ice. So far, they've only been documented living in the underside of the Ross ice shelf, but I'm pretty sure they probably live in other parts of Antarctica beneath the ice. Are you sure that's not just a clump of earwax? Ah yes, the butt plug creature. See, we like to have fun here. We're learning, but also I get to tell fun, low-hanging fruit jokes. Dendrogaster. These truly diabolical things may not look like it, but they're actually crustaceans that have evolved to become parasites that parasitize starfish. The only time you truly get to see them looking like a crustacean is during their larval stage before they invade a starfish. Poor starfish who had been parasitized will most likely go out in a painful way due to these fuckers. The concept of a parasite organism is just so freaky, so fucked up. If we cover insects, which we might at some point, you can guarantee we're gonna see some of those fuckers. And you know what? There's that video. There's a number of videos of those little wormy parasites. And it freaks me out every goddamn time. So yeah, if you have a strong stomach and we end up doing an insect pack, I think one's being made. But yeah, these are weird. I don't like them. I know I've said that several times. I like some of these things, but then once in a while I'm like, nope, don't like the way this one looks, don't like what this one does, I don't like what this one represents. Let's see if I like this one. The giant radiolarian. This thing has me truly stumped. The only thing I know about this tiny creature is that it's a colony composed of very tiny protists. Seriously, that's all I know about this. Oh. Just ball colony. It's a super colony of weird stuff. sperm whale. Wait, we're ending with sperm whales? Alright. The biggest predators that currently live. There have been stories told about these leviathans for centuries, including those about their truly legendary fights with giant squids. I added the word truly, I don't know why I did that. They're also the loudest animals in the animal kingdom, capable of emitting clicks that are 230 decibels. This is louder than jet engines, which are 150 decibels. And this level of sound can completely fuck up someone's eardrums, vibrate the entirety of your body to the point of heating up, eventually possibly killing you. However, that doesn't stop some divers who don't seem to mind the noise. Besides all that, these creatures are very social, sometimes traveling in groups. They're also incredibly inquisitive, even to the point where they sometimes will check out divers up close, eye to eye, and will sometimes stay with divers, occasionally introducing others of their kind. With that level of curiosity, they show a level of intelligence that is up there with some dolphins and killer whales. But that's the reason why I put them up on the list. Even though they mean no ill will and just want to learn and check stuff out, this has led to some instances that can trigger one's thalassophobia. I've included 2 videos where maintenance ROVs are inspecting underwater equipment, and a sperm whale will show up and nearly take up the whole screen. If you have bad thalassophobia, you should probably look away for a minute or two. I wonder if I missed this pack earlier. But let's take a look. Yeah, the movie. Someone mentioned the movie The Abyss. I love that movie. But yeah, it's got some moments that are a little bit kind of just frightening by nature of the scenario. I get why Jim Cameron likes the sea so much. We're on first name terms, me and Jim Cameron. Oh my god. Yeah, that was... oh, man. It's cool. It's a really amazing creature. It's curious. It just wants to know what's going on. But, that would scare the shit out of me. Just for how big it is, more than anything. It's like a decent fella. There are much worse things to get jump scared by in the ocean. That's true. Oh my god. For so, like, large a creature, they're fairly stealthy. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this segment as much as I did putting it together, and I hope you've all learned something along the way. I originally thought this was going to be a one and done deal, and my god, I added way too much just for one stream, but 3 parts? I'm beyond thankful. You, Vinny, and the chat, as well as the viewers watching from Full Sauce channel are the best. And again, Vinny, I apologize for putting so much into this one pack. I got carried away making these. But before Vinny moves on to the next segment or begins giving his closing thoughts for the night, there's one more thing I'd like to say. This experience has motivated me to start planning and thinking about another segment idea, just like this one. I might have something in mind, but I want your opinion, Binyot and chat. How would you all feel about potentially a megalophobia pack? If it does happen, it might be just a one and done deal, but we'll have to see. I have like a number of education interesting things packs that were, you know, sent my way, and I would be up for that pack for sure. Like I said, insects, there's more just weird stuff, there's more space sounds, there's more alien stuff we could always cover. So I'm up for anything that's good for like an hour and 10 minutes or so of just weird knowledge. Not even weird, but like interesting and kind of cool. The Blueprint soundtrack was great for this, by the way, so it worked out nicely. And yeah, thank you to the chat member Slender Ender Guy for making this, and genuinely thank you, chat, for giving this a shot. I know I'm reading this for the first time as we go, but I'm also learning, and I'm also enjoying the experience, even though I don't know how to pronounce some of the words. So these have been fun for me, and I'd like to do more of this kind of thing. It doesn't only have to be on Sundays, but I think as I get older, I enjoy doing more of this kind of thing once in a while. So yeah, thank you.